Hawktober O2.
Activision O2 is officially dead. The experimental sub-brand of extreme sports games designed to clone the success of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater could not have hit the fan any faster, surviving no more than 2 years. And in total honesty, that number is not even close to accurate, given half of these mediocre spin-offs were already in production or even completed prior to the first O2 game launching. And so, by the time Tony Hawk's Underground released in late 2003, the brand was dead as the THPS franchise shifted into a new direction, which ultimately led to its demise in the years to come. But inside of Thug was a demo for yet another extreme sports game known as MTX Mototrax. Yes, MTX the video game. Published by Activision, because of course it was. Who would have seen that coming? Thankfully this released in 2004, in between Thug 1 and 2, prior to the days of microtransactions. It was initially being developed under the title Travis Pastrana's Pro Motocross for the O2 label before it went belly up. So to close out this year's Hawktober, I am really excited to finally get the chance to play this game. No kidding, I could not play Underground without also messing around with the demo of this game as well every single time I played it. So much so that I actually begged my mum to try and find this for me, but all she said was, "I thought you already had this game at home." This was what I had at home. Jeremy McGrath's Supercross world, which just shits for the birds. Thanks, Mum. Anyway, the game opens with this badass intro, which we all know is incredibly important by now, given how lacking many of the O2 games were in comparison. For these types of games, simple, gritty, adrenaline-fueled presentation is all you need to get players psyched for the experience ahead. Starting career mode, we're introduced to the character creation suite, which is actually okay. I'm shocked. A feature often totally absent or inexcusably worthless when it has appeared in other O2 games is actually fleshed out with some good variety of items and many more options available as you unlock them by completing events and earning sponsors. Thank you! From here we move to the Travis Compound, which is a free ride area where we get to learn how to play the game and get a feel for the controls before we start racing. Early impressions, it's seriously fun cutting up the dirt and hitting jumps, learning tricks and exploring the map for cool spots. Looking at our PDA is where we can move to the event screen and see the different modes. Motocross races across the sprawling outdoor courses, supercross races inside stadiums. The free ride maps offer up some really unique and interesting environments with objectives given to you by various characters, and once you earn enough points here, you can advance onto the freestyle events that see you performing various stunts for high scores and competition victories. So there is some variety to be found here, but the main meat of the gameplay is in the racing modes. I actually knew this coming into the game from playing that demo for so many years. The racing here is so much fun. The goal is speed, of course, but hitting those jumps and busting tricks is honestly thrilling, especially with a killer soundtrack to back it up. Slipknot, Wait and Bleed, take my money. This is without hesitation the strongest playlist of music we've seen in any of the O2 games this week, and that's also true for the graphics. For the time, this game looks excellent. But a racing game lives and dies by its control, and these wider courses really aren't the best for scrutiny in this department, thanks to the amount of space they provide. Inside the stadiums, levels are much tighter with sharper turns and a lot of obstacles that expose the finely tuned intricacies of the dirt bike controls that this game is so good at. Everything feels one-to-one with how these bikes ride in real life, which is something that can usually be more of a restriction when it comes to games. Look at Pro BMX 2 or Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, which for as realistic as they were, clashed with the arcade objectives. But no, the realistic control mechanics are the star of this game, as all of the environments are built to accommodate them. Releasing compression to jump greater heights and distances feels so natural within the flow of levels. Pulling back on the stick to attack the whoop sections also feels really good. In fact, these are usually my window of opportunity to overtake some of the other races. Sharp turns can be a little more finicky in my experience, but in all honesty, that probably says more about my lack of knowledge when it comes to riding actual motorbikes. Point being with all of this is that the game feels amazing to play and also offers a strong learning curve as you progress to some of the more difficult tracks if you want to nail those rhythm sections perfectly. And I think this is a major win for MTX that anybody, gamer or actual motocross fan, will respect and enjoy here. Oh man, what is this new emotion that's taking over my body? Is it positivity? Because this is all of the joy I've waited to live ever since I first tried the demo of this game as a kid. Or is this new emotion disgust and jealousy for the fact that I had to grow up with Jeremy McGrath's Supercross world? Ugh. I can't believe I used to think this game was decent. I put hours and hours of my adolescence into completing this disaster. Thinking about that now with these side by side, I could do a Matt Hoffman after realising how much time I've wasted. In saying that, however, I do feel like there are certain aspects that this game actually got right where Mototrax may have dropped the ball. Both of the racing modes present us with different series or Grand Prix events that feature multiple races to win. This gets quite tiring playing through many levels all at once, especially if you're replaying races over and over again because you placed in a low position and want to try again. And trust me, you will be doing that because you absolutely need to place first overall by the end of the series if you want to unlock the next one. So it can really bog down your playtime. If you do win, then you unlock new sponsors and items that reward more money for your victories, as well as bike upgrades that you'll need as the competition spikes up dramatically between events. Upgrading the bike is not something we have any control over though, which is a real problem. With all of the minute details to races, we absolutely need the ability to fine-tune for certain events, and it can often leave you feeling incredibly disadvantaged to everyone else out there. It's already bad enough with the sometimes bullshit rubber banding. I mean, if you crash, you may as well just restart some of these races. But look at this example of the AI rider taking an absolute nosedive and then immediately resetting without any loss in momentum and just rocketing off over the horizon. This is real late game stuff, but fuck, it's a bit much. Whenever I get sick of the racing, I tend to find the open levels much more relaxing and I enjoy the objective structure. The quarry map, oh my god, what a prime example of a perfect location to explore in this game. Jumping machinery, blasting down mine shafts and scaling the sharp vertical terrain. This is everything my imagination dreamed up playing that one GTA San Andreas mission. Excellent. It's actually a real shame that there are only 4 free ride and only 4 freestyle events in the entire game. That's another thing McGrath did well that I kind of expected this game would perform much better at, offering variety. Where are the time trials? Outside of career with no purpose, of course. Well, what about the cross-country checkpoint races? We've already got something close to this in select free ride objectives, but I would have loved to have seen it expanded upon. And without single race events, the short list of locations gets repetitive. All of the courses here are great, don't get me wrong, but there is a severe lack of identity in the stadium tracks aside from the handful that actually feature alternate routes. The problem with these is that they're buried into the late game events that you'll be lucky to even see them unless you get really good. So the location variety really hangs on motocross with the various rural dirt tracks, a lot of dusty dry deserts, and that one level that has rain where everything is so dark you can't even see where you're going most of the time. In fact, there are a lot of blind spots in this game caused by darkness. No idea if this is specifically an original Xbox issue, given these games tend to display darker than on other systems, but it can be a real problem. I have actually been adjusting the brightness on all of the clips you've seen of this game so far because it's that much of a problem. And no, there's no brightness or gamma settings in the options menu. God, even some of the videos are next to unwatchable because shit is so dark. I've seen clearer video on the Sega CD for fuck's sake. So with the repetition of race events and a lack of environments or other modes is the biggest detractor here for me. Where are the levels through snowy forest tracks, up over gigantic sand dunes or through muddy rivers? Hell, I'd even take an illegal street race map through a city at night just for something different. All of these things I've mentioned, yes, they do hold this game back from being a top tier racing title. But despite all of these problems, what this game does best is deliver a super intuitive, high energy game combined with the AAA presentation of the Pro Skater titles that help to elevate those games into the mainstream. That's the combination I've been looking for all week this Hawktober, and I'm so glad that I've finally found a game that achieves that. And sure, the variety and level themes may be limited, but the potential for awesome track design is unlimited thanks to this game's level creation tool. Yes, along with custom riders, we also get to make our own levels again. Finally! Customization has been another sorely missed feature that no doubt contributed to the failures of the O2 brand. For a level maker, it's nothing super amazing or anything, but it's super easy to pick up and start building, morphing the terrain into technical or outright stupid designs. Unfortunately, we can't build bridges or tunnels like we see in some of the actual levels, and there are no crazy objects like loops or mega ramps, but that doesn't stop it drastically extending replayability. The AI tends to struggle a lot on these maps though, so grab a friend and have some real creative competition. There are a few unlockables for completing career events, no new levels, but with secret characters like Officer Dick, how can I complain? All in all, thanks to its incredibly slick control mechanisms combined with many fun courses and faithful, gritty presentation, Pastrana's Pro Motocross shows that the O2 experiment was not a complete failure, if for no other reason because its doom brought us this game. If only we'd seen some more variety here and some fine-tuning added to the creation modes, this game could have been up there with the Dirt 2s of racing games. Dirt 2 is a prime example of a brilliant racing game in my opinion, which also features Travis Pastrana as a key player. So just imagine if this game had dropped at the peak of Pastrana's mainstream popularity alongside Nitro Circus as his flagship video game. Man, that would have been legendary. But with all of that said, MTX Mototrax gets 6 out of 10. An overall solid game, well worth a play if you're a fan of motocross or racing games in general. So, we've seen all of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise, and now we've taken an extensive look at Activision's O2 experiment trying to replicate the lightning in the bottle with some official Pro Skater clones. Hawktober this year may be over, but there is still a lot to see in the realm of skateboarding and extreme sports video games. So until next time, I hope you all enjoyed Tony Hawktober 2020. Thank you all so much for watching, supporting the channel, and sharing these videos with your friends and on social media. And if you think I've earned it, then consider backing on Patreon or picking up some official Hawktober and Hawktober O2 merchandise, as it's a great way to support the channel and keep content flowing. Early access patrons also get 10% off of merch, so there's really no excuses. Just go and do it, guys. And as always, I'm Square-Eyed Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Cheers, guys.